Street, Freddy Krueger is a disfigured serial killer who haunts his teenage victims in their dreams. Fall asleep and you die.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
No! The actor behind the supernatural legend is Robert Englund. He's played Freddy in 8 films.
The only thing to fear is fear himself.
Now Robert is in Australia for Oz Comic Con, a massive pop culture event for fans to connect with their idols.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
And Robert Englund joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Happy to be back. What have you done with Sam, my favorite sunrise victim?
We got you attacked up. There have been lots of horror characters over the years. Why has Freddy Krueger lived on so long?
Well, I would love to take all the credit, but I'm sure it's our creator, Wes Craven, came up with such a great hook. The nightmare, the bad dream, it's so universal. And that's what made it a worldwide hit. I mean, every culture has bad dreams. In fact, he was inspired by, I believe, Cambodians who were dying in their sleep because they had come as refugees to the States, and they were unable to wake themselves up from their bad dreams and write them down, translate them into poetry or lyrics, song lyrics, or a drawing or a short story or a song. And they were literally dying in their sleep. And so that sort of inspired him for this idea of
Gee, that's
the Nightmare
scary
on
in
Elm
itself,
Street.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You played Freddy 8 times. Do you like horror movies?
You know, I was such a snob in the 70s and 80s. I was a film actor then, and I'd come from the theater, and I'd sort of forgotten that I was a fanboy as a child. But when I was a little kid, I would mow lawns, save up my allowance, and every Saturday, me and my pals would go to the Saturday matinee and see the double bill of all the new Hammer films or the science fiction movies that were out then. Yeah, so I was a fanboy. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Your voice is really similar, isn't it? It's actually quite scary just talking to you.
Well, I'll pitch it up for you. Nat.
Tell us about the...
Sweet dreams, Nat.
Oh, do it down the camera. Go, do it.
Sweet dreams, Nat.
Thanks, Freddie. The makeup. How long did the makeup take, and did you not get into the character until you had the makeup on?
Well, you know, the Freddy makeup is the famous one that I've done, and that took 3.5 hours to be camera ready. But
Wow.
I did Phantom of the Opera, and that was 4.5 hours because I had makeup over makeup. And I did a Stephen King film, The Mangler, and that was a combination of age makeup and prosthetics and hair. That was about 5 hours for camera ready, yeah.
Every day?
Every day, but then I met the guys that played the orcs in Lord of the Rings. We were in a pub together in London, and to be camera ready at 9 in the morning, they were called at 2 a.m.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. So, you've played other movies, and you've been in MacGyver and Knight Rider and a lot of TV series. Does it annoy you you've been typecast? Like, have you ever tried out for a role in Notting Hill, for example, and walked in, they go, nah, mate, we'll never cast you in that?
Only project Freddie cost me was I was up for a comedy film directing.
Right.
And I believe it starred Helen Hunt. That was my idea. I chose Helen Hunt before she was a star. And I'd done some work on it, and they wouldn't let me do it. I think it was the Rank organization. They said, oh, that guy can't do comedy, when that's all I did practically in the theater. And I did a lot of it in the 70s. I was always the best friend and the sidekick to Henry Fonda, Peter Strauss, Jan Michael Vincent, Jeff Bridges, Sally Field. I was always like the pal. I had Susan Sarandon as a leading lady in 1975, and I was a little sweet, you know, innocent hitchhiker in that. And so it was always a surprise to me. I did a couple of Southern heavies, and then I did Freddy, and that was the one that took off. I thought I was going to be typecast as a kind of nerdy sci-fi Dr. Spock guy from V, you know. Yeah.
And you can imagine Helen Hunt not wanting you as director, because with a voice like that,
Helen,
exactly right. Every actor would be scared witless of you.
Now, you could have also been Han Solo.
No, this is the internet.
Is that
no,
a story?
I was up for Apocalypse Now, the surfer in it. I'm an old surfer, and you know, I grew up idolizing the Aussie surfer. surfers, and I went up for the surfer in Apocalypse Now. And I wanted to be up for the cook. And they sent me across the hall to be briefly seen for this new project by George Lucas, who we all idolized from American Graffiti. And it was Han Solo. They looked at me for 5 minutes. They took a Polaroid of me, but I found the sides, the script, and I took it back home with me, and there on my couch with a 6-pack of Heineken watching Mary Tyler Moore show was my buddy Mark Hamill. So I gave Mark Hamill, I said, Mark, I think you're right for this.
Really?
He got on the horn, called his agent, and he got to play Luke Skywalker. So that's the big connection there. Yeah.
I hope he gave you a cut.
Yeah.
Well, he was a TV star then. He was doing a TV show at a studio across the street from my apartment, so he was always at my house. And,
Isn't that funny? You're here for Comic-Con, where you meet your fans. What are the most common questions you get asked?
Well, they all want to know, I've been doing a lot of games, and I'm sworn to secrecy about the new big games. Well, one of them I can talk about, Masters of Orion, but the others I'm not supposed to talk about. And the fans, they troll the internet, and they get all of the gossip and the dirt, and so they keep trying to make me tell more and more about that. So that's the one I'm experiencing now.
Right.
And they also want to know what Johnny Depp was like, and how long the makeup took. Those are the big questions. But I've done close to 82 movies now, and so what's great about the actor's ego attending a Comic-Con, especially one in a country that's not your own, is you get to hear what they thought about your last comedy job, or an old movie that you did back in the 70s that you've forgotten about, and they love some little piece of business you did in it with a gun or something, and you get that great feedback.
That's
and it's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we love talking to you every time you come out here. You're a regular. Enjoy the surfing while you can out here as well. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
You can see Robert at Oz Comic Con this weekend at the Sydney Exhibition Centre, next weekend at the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre. All the details on the Sunrise website.